All right, we are back, everybody. How's it going? A new episode of Wow, Look at Me Now. And this is another, obviously, special episode, which to me, every episode of these that I get to do is very special. Um, in this episode, we're going to be thanking all of our sponsors. We're going to be talking about some of the podcasts that just happened. We're going to be talking about the things we have coming up for the podcast. We're going to talk about the t-shirts and hats we have made. I'll kind of get into that a little later. And then we're also going to, just talk about some topics and stuff that I have going on in my life and stuff that I kind of want to get out of the way. So first and foremost, I want to thank all of my sponsors. Every single person that's behind me is a sponsor. We have Justin Coball, we have the Melting Clock, and we also have Gone Clothing. And again, here's Wow Productions, which is kind of my my little bit of a project that I'm doing, with all these videos and stuff. So again, I just want to thank all my sponsors: Justin Coball, Alex and Chris, Alex Thompson, Chris DeWib, just for being behind me and believing me as a person and believing in what my goal is for this podcast, and kind of just jumping on board. And these guys, honestly, when I first met them and they first kind of were talking about jumping on board, they were all right on board right away. And I didn't really know them very much. I just kind of told them what my story was and what my idea for the podcast was, and they all, believed in me and had my back. And I cannot thank them enough. Again, that's Justin Coball from Precision Detailing. That's Alex Thompson from the Melting Clock, and Chris DeWerb from Gone Clothing. And so if you need your car detailed, you need anything done to your car, get a hold of Justin. He's, even it doesn't have to be a car. He'll do your radio flyer. He doesn't care. He'll do anything. He'll make it shine. He'll make it beautiful for you guys. And again, my new sponsors that you kind of see that are in the background here, and you kind of seen on the new intro, and you've seen it on the last two episodes as well, is the Melting Clock, which is my CBD sponsor for not only jiu-jitsu, but they also help out with the podcast, and just basically getting me right back fit and in shape for all my tournaments. And I train all the time as hard as possible, and I'm not getting younger. My body's kind of starting breaking down. I get sore, and I'm not one of those guys that likes to do Tylenol, ibuprofen, stuff like that. I just want to rub some cream on, do something that helps me and makes me a little more relaxed. And so CBD has been really a big helping for me the last few months. I think 3 or 4 months I've been getting on the habit of taking that and getting on that, since I've seen a lot of people jumping on board. Even the UFC's kind of jumped on board with that. So it's something that's been really beneficial to myself for training. And my knees aren't as sore, my fingers aren't as sore, my hands, from doing a lot of the grip fighting and stuff that I try to get in there and do, and it's just been a really big help. So I can't thank him enough again for basically just getting myself back on point and being able to train and do what my passion is and do what I love doing. Also, Chris from Gone Clothing, I cannot thank him enough. If you see this giant banner right here that we have made, I can kind of lean a little bit out of the way here. What? That is a banner that he made and had done for me. Excuse me. That I've been working on for, since basically the very beginning. I wanted to figure out something that could get back there, and something to figure out that we could just kind of get our name out. So every time people are sitting here watching me, they kind of see who has my back, what we're talking about, and everything that they've done for me. I want to be able to just give back to them as much as possible. And this is just a tiny little bit by just having their names back here and their websites. And, just I'm so thankful for everybody. And for Chris, from Gone, just jumped on board. Alex from Melting Clock jumped on board. Justin jumped on board right away. Right when we first started this thing, he jumped on board and started helping us get all these mics, everything that we basically got for equipment. This guy helped us get. And all he really asked was just don't give up, kick ass, and push as hard as you can, and make sure that, I thank him every now and then. And I try to thank him on every single podcast, as well as, these guys as well that jumped on board with us. And so, again, you can find Justin Coball and Precision Detailing if you need anything done to your car, detailing, any of that kind of stuff. I think he's got 3 or 4 different certificates and different stuff that he does now. I know he just got a new certificate of doing something. Again, I don't know much about cars or detailing any of that, but if you need anything done to your car in that kind of fashion, get a hold of him. You can get a hold of him on Precision Detailing LLC on Facebook, or you can get a hold of him and call Justin himself at 507-358-3770. I just looked at it over the shoulder. It's pretty sweet. I like that. It's pretty cool that it's there now. And also, anything CBD wise, anything like that, you have any questions or any things about that, if helps a lot with anxiety, depression. There's all kinds of things that it helps with, muscle soreness, all kinds of different things. You can go ahead and call Alex and get a hold of him, or you can contact them on Facebook at The Melting Clock, Instagram on The Melting Clock, and then at themeltingclock.net. And then Chris here from Gone Clothing, you can get a hold of him at Gone Clothing on Facebook, as well as Gone Clothing on Instagram, and it's also Gone Rochester. I believe he has another Instagram. And he makes shirts. He makes all kinds of different stuff. He actually didn't make the hats for this time, but he's probably going to jump on board and make some hats and different stuff for different logos that we're going to be kind of pushing out later. But actually, Justin jumped on board and helped and figured out how to get these hats made, because we were kind of thinking about the same time getting the hats and the shirts made, and then it just worked out that they both could kind of do it at the same time. We can get them both around the same time. So now we do actually have hats and we have shirts for sale. They're both going to be $25 a piece, the hats and the shirts. The shirts, as you can see, I'm kind of wearing right now. I've actually... And then it's just blank on the back, but I've actually showed these in a different podcast. But now we actually do have the new hats, and I'm actually wearing one of the hats right now. No, Wow Look at Me Now hat. But I'll actually pull out some of the other ones, and because we have a different style as well. So again, I'm wearing just this gray. It's black and gray. It's pretty slick. Again, these all just came out of the box. Nobody's wore your hat yet, so if you want to buy a hat, make sure you can get a hold of me. Then we're going to figure out how to try to sell them on Facebook. And then we also do have, which I love this design, like the trucker hat with the netting. And honestly, this is amazing for working out, running, any of that stuff. That way, we're not sweating through and giving any of our salt stains or any of that crap. If you do work outside or any of that, or you work out with a hat on, that sucks to ruin one of your nice hats. So this is perfect for that, for working out and running. And again, it's black on the front. It says Wow Look at Me Now podcast. And they are all snapbacks, so you can just fit them up to whatever size head you have, and they work perfect. So this will work for anybody basically. Maybe there's a few exceptions, but these are pretty nice hats. Again, these are going to be $25, as well as a t-shirt is $25. But if you want to buy both and you want to order both of them, it's going to be $45 for both. So you can kind of get them both. And we do have a limited offer for now. I think there's 13 of each left, or 10 of each left. And assorted. Again, the shirts are assorted sizes. Jesus, that was hard to say. And the hats, just again, they come in one size basically fits all. So that's pretty awesome that we have those. This past weekend we actually had again some fighters on there who were Tony Martin and Maurice Smith. I just want to give a big shout out to those guys, and congratulations to those guys on their fights. Tony's didn't go the way that we were hoping, but at the end of the day, he went out there and he fought one of the best welterweights in the entire world, and one of the best of all time. And so hats off to him for going out there and going through rounds with him. And at the end he rocked him, but just unfortunately he didn't have enough to put him away. And to Maurice won his fight, so congratulations to him. Awesome. And these guys were just so fun to talk to, and just I'm so lucky that I got to go up there and meet these guys, and they took the time out of their busy week, because the UFC was actually right here in Minnesota, and we'd try to get some UFC credentials before, but we couldn't get them. We were going to try to get back and meet some of the fighters. So luckily, Brock Larson from Start Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is Start BJJ right here in Minnesota. There's also Start BJJ in New Hampshire. There's also Start BJJ on some of the East Coast as well. Professor Rafael Lima is the guy that kind of runs all that, and he is a great guy. But Brock is actually affiliate of our gym, Imperial Training Center, and I've known Brock for years from my MMA days, and he was always somebody I looked up to, and I kind of said that in the last podcast too. It's somebody that I really kind of looked up to, and I'm so lucky that I met him, and that he is an amazing person and such a great freaking guy. Like, again, he'll go out of his way to do anything for anybody. He'll drive 4 hours just to change your tire if he has to. Like, he'll do anything for you. He'll give the shirt off your back twice. You know what I mean? Like, he'll do anything that you need for him to do. And I know that he drove from he came from Florida, flew in from Factory X in Colorado to Minnesota, drove from the airport, which is a good 2 hours, hour and a half from our gym, straight to our gym. Didn't go home, didn't do anything other than come straight to our gym, watched me teach class, helped teach our other classes, because he was kind of just studying me for hopefully my purple And so he just kind of was, watched me and then helped teach the rest of our classes, and just drove 4 hours back home. 3.5 hours, however long it is from Rochester to St. Cloud, which is not a little haul, and just because that's what his commitment is and that's what he said he would do, and he did it. And it's amazing to have somebody like that behind you and have our back at our gym. And I know that Dan and Ting and everybody at our gym is so thankful for Brock. And I always think it's a little special when Brock comes and when we get to hang out with him. And hopefully I can get him on the podcast one day, because he is the man, the myth, the legend, Brock Larson, and he is the reason why those two podcasts happened. He trained he trains both Tony and Maurice. Tony's now kind of living in Florida, training out there, but Brock was always part of his camps. And Maurice, again, was here until Brock sent him out to Colorado to Factory X to train for this last training camp. He still lives here in Minnesota. And so if it wasn't for Brock, honestly, none of those podcasts would happen. So thank you, Professor Brock, if you're watching. I appreciate you so much, and I appreciate you, taking the time to set all that up and deal with us. And I mean, we drove a half hour the wrong way to the wrong spot, had to drive a half hour back to meet him, and then we had to drive another half hour to go meet Brock, because he had to drop off Tony, and we were just kind of in the mix, and I felt like we were kind of throwing him off his game a little bit, because we were trying to call him and figure out where he was. And it's just, he was so patient, and he was just amazing to help, to work with, to help us to get this podcast. And again, so thank you so much, Professor Brock, for watching this, and we want you on the podcast as soon as possible. We got to come up to the St. Cloud and get you on, and also get some of your other guys on there. I know Pacheco would probably be a great guy to get on here. And so again, this past weekend we had UFC. I think it was just UFC on Fight Night, or UFC on ESPN. Francis Ngannou versus Junior Dos Santos. So Ngannou versus Dos Santos. Some really good fights. 6 first-round knockouts, knockout TKOs. Let's see. Maurice won his fight. Tony had a great 3-round fight with Damian Maia. It was just a really good showing for Minnesota and MMA. And also Dan Moret had a really tough fight. He went 3 rounds with another guy. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. I'm sorry, Dan. But another great guy out here representing. And again, he's only a few hours away from us, maybe an hour or so in Mankato. So. Hats off to all 3 of those guys for getting on the Rochester or the Minnesota card and representing Minnesota. So that's amazing. That's huge for us, and I couldn't thank those 2 guys enough for being on here. And again, Dan, I just didn't get a chance to reach out to him or meet him, because we were trying to get the Tony and Maurice for since the beginning of this podcast. Basically, I've been trying to get them on here, and even before the podcast, I told Professor Brock that I would like to get Maurice on, and then I'd like to get him on and Maurice, and then he was saying that he was going to get Tony on, and I was just like, you're going to get Tony Martin on my podcast? Like, I don't even have one yet, and you're thinking about getting him on already? Okay, and he came through with his word, and he did it, and I think they turned out amazing, and I was just so lucky to, get him on the podcast and kind of, just get those guys experience and knowledge and get it out there. And I'm going to chop some of the good, we had some really good bits and stuff from them, or segments, where they talked about some really good stuff. And Tony had some really good advice for, amateur fighters, people who were just cutting way too much weight. And I think he had a really good point about some of the stuff he said in there. So that's going to be awesome to kind of chop those up and put those out as little smaller segments. So you don't really have to skim back through the whole podcast to see those parts. Let's just make sure everything's still recording here. It's just me today, so I'm just chilling out, hanging out, relaxing. I just got done from practice not too long ago. This podcast hopefully going to come out tomorrow morning. We don't want to make it too long. We're at the 14-minute the 14-minute mark right now. Just some other things coming up. We have Jay Paulson going to be coming on the podcast pretty soon. Yeah, it's been a long time since we've actually seen his face. He's been behind the camera a lot. Again, honestly, Jay, if you're watching this, man, and anybody else who's seeing this, dude, thank Jay so much, because this guy, I can't thank him enough. Again, with not only my sponsors, but Jay Paulson as well. He's one of those guys that he stepped up and he's helped me so much. He's drove everywhere to me. He went with me to the cities to do Tony and Maurice's podcast, to sit behind the camera and just make sure everything went right, make sure the recorder was going well, make sure the camera was going well, and just made sure everything was on point. And it was he didn't have to do that, and he always said that, it was his pleasure. He lucked out because he got to meet those guys. But at the end of the day, my podcast wouldn't have turned out as well as it would. It wouldn't have ran as smoothly if it wasn't there. And either of these other podcasts that he's been behind. So, I can't thank him enough for everything he's done. And he actually has a big tournament. Oh, I guess it's a match. It's a jiu-jitsu match. He got on the Fight to Win card that's in Minneapolis. So it's Fight to Win Minneapolis, and he's taking on Charles Alonso, something like that. Alonso, I believe he's from Spartan Martial Arts. But it's huge for us. We just found out tonight. I just found out, so I'm kind of scrambling to figure it out. And I know I just told him not to practice. Like, we gotta get you on the podcast and pump that up. So yeah, Jay the Magic Man Paulson is going to be doing a Fight to Win match. At 170 pounds, I think he's actually thinking about moving up to 170 pounds for MMA as well. And he has a fight coming up in September 13, somewhere around there, somewhere in the early teens of September. He's going to be fighting at 170 pounds or 175 pounds, something like that. I'm not sure exactly what they agreed upon, but he's going up, and I think the advice that Tony gave him really stuck with him. So that's awesome. Again, thanks, Tony. We'll see if it pays off. We got a long time. We think we have about 3 months to get him in shape, or 2.5 months now, to get him in shape and ready to rock and rumble, and we're gonna be ready for whoever it is. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Again, though, this is July 20th, right in Minneapolis, Minnesota, at the Hyatt Regency. Fight to Win. It's Saturday night, and Jay Paulson is going to be in one of the matches. There's 35 matches, so if you're into jiu-jitsu, you're not into jiu-jitsu, you want to know what jiu-jitsu is, you want to watch, this is one of the best, most premier jiu-jitsu shows that they have all around the world. It's one of these things where they make it an actual fight. They make it about the jiu-jitsu match. It's not a tournament. It's set up. You and one guy, you can go out there and you roll your butt off. You have a 6-minute match. Submission only. Every single submission is legal, and slams are legal. So if you get in a submission and you can slam your way out of it, knock your opponent out, you knock your opponent out. You're not obviously trying to knock your opponent out, but if it happens, it happens. I mean, that it's legal. So it's one of these things that's very, very exciting, and Jay Paulson is going to go out there, and I think he's going to put it on somebody. And either way, he's going to go out there, he's going to show his skills, and he's going to have fun, and it's going to be a great experience for Jay Paulson, and I'm so, so happy for him. Unfortunately, our buddy Travis Henn, so if anybody from the Fight to Win is watching this, Travis Henn deserves a match on Fight to Win, and so do I. I didn't sign up because I thought I was going to be working on all this stuff, but, whatever. I signed up 2 days ago, but it's way too late. They already had all the matches. But Fight to Win, if you come back to Minneapolis, not only you're going to have Jay Paulson, you're going to have Ryan Stock, and you're also going to have Travis Henn. Travis, the Panda Bear Henn, has got a new nickname. It's stuck. It's on a podcast. Travis, you're watching. You're in. Panda Bear. He's on. He always wears Panda Bear geese. I'm not sure exactly what the brand is, but it's always got a damn panda on him. So he's the goddamn Panda Bear. So for everybody watching, again, thanks all of our sponsors. Thank Joe Paulson. Check out Fight to Win Minneapolis, July 20th. If you haven't followed Anthony Rocco Martin or Maurice Green on Facebook or Instagram, follow them. Anthony Rocco Martin or Maurice Green, a.k.a. the Crochet Boss. If you can't spell it, Google it. Crochet Boss. Use the little microphone. I can't spell it either. The Crochet Boss. I can spell it, but I ain't trying to mess up on. Now I'm on. Get the pressure on. So. All right. So again. Oh yeah, and Tom Segura. If you're watching, or anybody who knows Tom Segura, or you're interested in Tom Segura, I am coming to your show. It is going to be July 23rd, 29th, something, after Jay Paulson's match. I'm pretty sure it's on a Wednesday. But yeah, we got tickets, and me and my girlfriend are going to go, and I'm super excited to see Tom in person, and kind of, I'm excited for that. That's going to be great. Let's see, what else do I have going on? I don't know if I really have much. Ghost hunting, if you do watch any of the podcasts or anything on my Facebook or any of that stuff, I do have a side project I do called the Prodigy Company, and our goals, we're going to go ghost hunting here in Quarry Hill, in Rochester. So that's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of hopefully freaky stuff happen. Who knows. But yeah, so check that page out too. I'm sure I invited most of the people that are on this page to that. It's a prodigy company. It's nothing like this. Again, this is my serious podcast. This is the one where I really get to know people and I really take, the opportunities I get very, very seriously with this podcast. And this is something that means a lot to me. And then again, this other side project is just something that I do because I enjoy hanging out with my friends. I enjoy doing different crazy stuff. I enjoy being able to use my equipment and get better at it and figure out ways to edit different things and do different videos and do different things with the videos. I gotta play around with those videos and not worry about if I mess them up or, if we look dumb or, so it's just a podcast where we have more fun. You most likely see me with some CBD, having fun, laughing, joking, talking shit. We'll swear. It'll be, playing some games. Hopefully we get, we're going ghost hunting coming up, so hopefully we'll have a few episodes out about ghost hunting. And again, that's just the Prodigy Company. It's just something fun that we do on the side, and it's kind of turned out to be a lot of fun. But again, this is my main goal, my main project, and this is my, main objective is to get this out and get people to see this and to get to really know a lot of people and, put out a positive message. Again, I like to talk about, the depression awareness, suicide awareness, addiction awareness, cystic fibrosis awareness. The last year and a half or so, about the last year and a half, we've been talking a lot about epilepsy, and we've had a lot of that because, again, Justin's daughter does have epilepsy, and she's one of my students and one of our students at the gym. And it's something that we like to spread the awareness about. And if you can help in any way, I know that they do have a walk coming up in August. It's for Team Kaya, and you can get a hold of Justin if you want to kind of help sponsor that or help that in any way. Make sure you get a hold of him. It is something that really means a lot to him, and he's such a great dad and does so much for his daughters and his son. 3 daughters and a son. I feel bad for poor Leighton, but he sticks it out. He's tough. They're all tough kids, so it's a great family and great cause. So again, epilepsy and cystic fibrosis is something that touches me, because my sister has 4 kids and 3 of her kids have cystic fibrosis, which is kind of an oddity because usually in most families out of 4 kids, 1 will have it. Unfortunately, 3 out of her 4 actually have it. So, it's not anything that stops them or slows them down or anything like that. It's just something that you got to really, make sure you're taking care of their health and making sure that they're healthy, they're eating right, they're doing the right things, they're staying hydrated. It's just a little more, and it's something that can definitely be curable and definitely be prevented and definitely be slowed down in its tracks. They're doing a lot of great things for cystic fibrosis as well as epilepsy. And those are 2 things that if you can help or you can get on board with, definitely check out the Epilepsy Foundation as well as the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. I'm not exactly sure the epilepsy name of the company and all that stuff, but if you can Google it, I'm sure you can find out. Donate to epilepsy. I'm sure you Google that and you're going to find out right where to go. Donate to cystic fibrosis as well. Again, suicide awareness is always a big thing. I shared it out actually on the WOW page. This came out. So it'll be yesterday if this comes out now. Or when you watch it, it'll be on the page. I shared it out, just because I had a friend that shared something that said like, it was like if I just one of my friends shares this out, anyone just share it. I just want to let people know that there's somebody listening, and I just shared it out, and I deleted all the stuff that he said, and I just put out suicide awareness, hashtag, depression, hashtag, you're not alone, just some other hashtags about just letting people know that there's people out here. It's not just you're not just going through a hard time, and just because you're suffering or you're having a hard time right now doesn't mean that, you need to take that permanent solution to a temporary problem. You're always going to get past it, and there's a good song right now by Jelly Roll, my man. If you know anything about me, you know that I'm a huge fan of Jelly Roll. And not only Jelly Roll, but Tech Nine. And Jelly Roll and Tech Nine did a song together called EFU. So it's easier for you. EFU is what it's called. So it's a great song you can check out. And, it's something that, it brings a real positive message. And I really like it. And again, it helps and it kind of touches home with what we talk about in the podcast, the suicide awareness, depression, addiction awareness. Again, lose my dad, lose my best friend. My best friend to suicide, my dad to a drug overdose. It's hard. It's one of those things that as a young kid, I wasn't really sure what it meant or why it happened. And now I'm pretty convinced that the reason why it happened is because I'm out here to spread the message that, you're not alone. If you're going through addiction, you're going through, depression, you're suicidal, any of that stuff, you're not alone. And don't ever think that you're alone or that nobody cares, because everybody cares. Sometimes they might not show it in the right ways or show it all the time, but trust me, everybody cares. And it's definitely not going to be easier without you for anybody. It's just going to be harder for us, but it's going to be easier for you. Again, I stole that line from the song, but it definitely it hits home, because that's what it means. It's easy for you, but it's harder for everybody else. Losing somebody is one of the hardest things that could happen to anybody ever. So just know that you're wanted and you're always welcome in anybody's family, anybody's circle, any of that stuff. Just know that if you feel like an outsider, any of that, just talk to somebody. Tell somebody, even the person you least expect is going to have your back. Trust me. Tell them you don't feel right, you're not happy, you've been thinking sad, you've been thinking about hurting yourself. Trust me, they're going to have your back. All right? And just trust in what they're going to do, because your time's going to come where everything's going to be great for you. It might not be now, but trust me, with every negative situation, there's going to be a positive. You just got to push yourself out of those negatives and push them towards the positive, and keep focused on positive situations and positive things in your life. Keep yourself, with goals. And again, I'm talking to myself here when I say this stuff. Keep goals, keep working, make sure that you always have a situation that you know that you're going to get there. In my situation is, I'm going to be a great black belt, and I'm going to have a great fun podcast along the way. And I don't know if I'm going to be famous from this. I don't know if I'm going to make money off this. I don't know if this is going to be something that 100 people watch, 1,000 people watch, 10 people watch. But I know that I'm having fun doing it, and I know that I'm lucky enough to meet some of these great people like Tony, or like Anthony, like Maurice, like Jay, like Dax, getting to know people that I'm close with, that I'm not really close with. There's guys that I train 4-5 hours a week with and didn't really know a lot about them. Now I feel like I'm so much closer to these guys. I see them at the gym, I talk to them, I feel like we made that connection, like we're becoming what really is best friends, family, what that really means and what a real team means, and the camaraderie through this podcast. Again, I didn't know Maurice, I didn't know Anthony, but now I feel like I know those guys pretty damn well, for sitting there with them for an hour and just getting to know them. And the best thing too was, after a while, we had already wrapped up. For a while, we sat there and just talked to Maurice and just kind of got to know him, and just as a person, just no camera on, nothing. We were just having fun. He was just being a great guy. And same with Tony. Before we even got there, he was watching fights. Like, hey, can I finish watching this fight? Like, hell yeah, man. Who's this fighting? It's one of his friends, or one of his buddies he trains with in Florida fighting. And it was great to see, just how nice and awesome those guys were. And Tony, hung out, talked, asked if we need anything. It was amazing just to meet those guys and see how humble and nice they were. Again, Tony, he is the best goddamn card player in the world, and he wants to be the best goddamn MMA fighter in the world, and I believe him. And I believe he can do it, and I believe that, with the conviction that I felt in his voice, that he's going to rise up out of the ashes, and he's going to be like that phoenix, and he's going to tear somebody up in his next fight. And there's no reason why he doesn't deserve next fight, going 3 rounds with the best grappler in MMA, not being finished, getting up at the end of the round, in the 3rd round, and rocking him. And it was a great fight. It was an awesome fight. I was nail bit the whole goddamn time. I was on the edge of my seat. It was a great fight. At least for me. If you guys didn't like it, I don't care. I enjoyed it. I got to meet the guy. I got to watch. It was amazing for me, and I don't know. It was awesome. Again, I'm going to see Tom Segura. So if you're going to be here in Rochester during the Olmsted County Fair, Tom Segura is going to be here one of the nights. Nelly's going to be here, and then Lee Bryce, I think, is the other guy. I'm sorry, I have no idea who that guy is, but I don't know. Maybe I can look him up. But yeah, that's happening as well. So this is, again, just a podcast where I just want to thank everybody. I can't appreciate everybody enough. Maurice, Anthony, Brock Larson for making all this happen. Professor Brock is one of the best guys I've ever met in my life. So I even met him and talked to him, just at his seminars and stuff. Just every time you see him, he's just amazing to talk to you. And when he comes down to teach class, and he was like, I'm going to watch you today. I was so fucking nervous, I'll be honest. And he was just like, no, you did great. Just be a little more enthusiastic. Just enjoy yourself a little more, and let the kids know that you're enjoying this as well. And you don't have to be as strict, just enjoy yourself. And that's what I've been trying to do. And some days, like today, we had we had a pretty intricate move in jiu-jitsu. And so I really had to take the time and kind of be really detailed with everything and kind of be more robotic. But again, my next class then is going to be more energetic. We're going to pick it up. We're going to have more fun. And I think that I could find the happy medium that way, and the, just a little bit of encouragement and just kind of giving me the right idea of what to do and where to go. It was just amazing. So again, I can't thank him enough for everything, for helping with the podcast, for being part of our gym and all that stuff. It's amazing. Again, thank you, Jay Paulson, for all your help. Follow Jay Paulson on Facebook, Jay the Magic Man Paulson. He's also on Instagram at Paulson J. And then follow all our sponsors, Precision Detailing LLC on Facebook. Also contact him for any detailing or anything like that you need done with your car. 507-358-3770. That's Justin Coball. CBD, anything with CBD, anything like that. Smoke, you vape, you smoke cigarettes, any of that kind of stuff, he's the guy to go to. TheMeltingClock.net is where you can get a hold of them, or The Melting Clock on Facebook and Instagram, as well as just stopping here in Rochester. And again, everybody here is local. Wow Productions, that's one of the things that I do. That's this podcast, that's the Prodigy and Company podcast. That's just some stuff that any of the Jelly Roll video, any of the fight videos, any of that stuff that I send out, anything basically that comes off of my platforms is done by me. And I try to do that as much as possible. Again, though, we are going to have some videos on the Prodigy and Company, because we're going to be merging some pages. And so on our YouTube page, the Prodigy and Company podcast and gaming, that's for the other podcast that I do, the fun one, the one where we just mess around. If you guys want to see us be idiots and not be as serious as I usually am, just kind of letting loose and having fun, that's the podcast kind of to go watch and trying to check us out. That's on YouTube as the Prodigy and Company and gaming. Or the Prodigy and Company podcast and gaming. So that's what that one is, and that's a pretty fun one. And again, Gone Clothing, we cannot leave out Gone Clothing. You see, all this beautiful artwork, all this stuff behind us, this t-shirt, all the t-shirts that you're going to buy from us, Gone Clothing with Christopher. He's the man. He has helped me out, and he has been on board, and every single time I bring him an idea or something, he's always like, yep, let's figure it out. Yep, we'll do it. Let's do this way. How about this? He made this banner is just amazing. I can't thank him enough. Like, look at this thing. Like, it's finally happened. I'm so happy to have this banner behind me. Like, honestly, like, this is just amazing. I don't know what else to say. Thank you guys so much. If you are a sponsor, you are a fan, if you are somebody who shared, liked, commented anything on this podcast, thank you. Because without any of you guys, without Justin, without Alex, without Chris, without my friends Jay Paulson, without Dax, without Travis, without all of these people that have helped me, my girlfriend, my family, everybody that's been behind me, I wouldn't be who I am, and I wouldn't be able to do this without all of you. So thank you guys so much, and I cannot tell you guys enough what this means to me to be able to do this and sit here. And again, I'm in a room by myself talking to a camera, but it's because I know how many of you are going to watch this video and how many of you are going to care and take the time just because you are a supporter of who I am and what I believe in. So I thank you for letting me do all this. All right, thank you guys. Again, Precision Detailing LLC on Facebook, or you can contact at 507-358-377. Melting Clock, themeltingclock.net. Melting Clock on Facebook and Instagram. Gone Clothing on Facebook. Gone Clothing on Instagram. I'm All Gone is his personal Facebook if you want to get a hold of him directly. But hit up any of their websites, any of that stuff. Google it, Gone Clothing. Google the Melting Clock. Google Precision Detailing. Google the Wow Look at Me Now podcast. Just look us up and you'll find us. All right. We're here to help people. We're here to have fun, and we're here to get to know people and figure out the trials and tribulations of life. All right. If you've been through stuff, which every single person that's watching this has been through an up, been through a down, and knows what life can do and how hard life can be. Just know that you're not alone. You're going to make it through it, and there's people like me, there's people like you, there's people like your mom, your sister, whoever has your support, that are always going to have your back no matter what. All right, so just know that, surround yourself around the right people, create goals, and just stay positive and happy, and keep pushing toward the positive, and stick away from the negative as much as possible. All right. That's the best I can tell you, and honestly, what do I know? I'm just a guy who used to get punched in the head, for a living, so that's all I know. Again, some big things are going to be happening for the podcast. We're going to have Jay Paulson on talking about his fight to win, as well as his fight in September. We might have the Panda Bear on, because we're going to try to get him a fight to win. Again, fight to win, people. Hit us up. We're out here kicking butt. We're out here taking names. We're out here hunting the purple belts, all right? We're blue belts, but we're out here looking for you purples. All right, once we get the purple belt, we're coming for your brown belts, and we're coming. We're not messing around. Imperial Training Center is where it's at, yo. We're coming. I just like to be tough sometimes. All right, thank you guys. I appreciate it. Again, thanks to all my sponsors. Thanks to every single one of you guys for letting us do this. Wow Productions, Gone Clothing, The Melting Clock, Precision Detailing, Wow Look at Me Now podcast. If you want a t-shirt, you want a hat, again, it's $45 for the combo, $25 a piece, and it's all going to go right back into this podcast, into making new designs, into making new shirts, into making beer coolies, bandanas, stickers, flyers, anything you can think of we're going to be trying to make and get out. And if there's anything you guys want us to talk about when you watch this podcast, send me a message, send it to our Facebook, send it to our Instagram, tell us topics you want me to talk about. Anything you guys want, I am here to talk about it, and I will give you my opinion. Whether it's right, wrong, whatever you think, I'll give you my honest opinion. That's what I'm here to do. I'm here to just talk and have fun and enjoy stuff and give people my opinions and let people know who I am as a person. So if you want to know who I am as a person, watch all my Facebook, my social media stuff. Check out the old school videos on the Wow Look at Me Now YouTube where I was trying out for the real world. I had a blonde mullet, young kid just trying to get out there. Look for me on Survivor. I'm going to be trying out for Survivor. I'm going to be trying out for maybe The Amazing Race if I can get my girlfriend to try out with me. We'll see. Get her butt in shape and we'll be out there kicking butt on The Amazing Race, hopefully, I'm just trying to do big things and enjoy my life. You only live once, and, I'm out here to make the most out of it, and everybody talks about, a legacy. And my legacy is going to be hopefully full of stories, and lots of fun. And that's what I want. And again, with all of you guys, without my sponsors, without everybody who's backed me, I wouldn't be able to do this and have as much fun as I am with this. So, again, thank everybody. I'm going to get out of here. This is 36 minutes in, and, it's one of those things that, I don't know, I'm so lucky, and I can sit here and talk to you guys and thank you guys forever. But, I really hope the ones watching this really know how much this means to me, and I really appreciate it. So, if you can give us a like, a share, comment, anything. Again, tell us some stuff you want to hear me talk about. Tell me some stuff, some guests maybe you want on the podcast. Anything you guys think about or want to know. I do have some ideas for more guests. Again, we're going to have Jay Paulson on next. And then, we'll go from there. We'll try to get some really fun, interesting people. And I think we've had some good ones. If you haven't checked out the last couple of podcasts, Otia was a great podcast. Chris Levetter was a great podcast. Obviously, Anthony Rocco Martin and Maurice Green were great podcasts, great guys. So go ahead and check them out and, follow them on social media or anything. Push and Turn is Otia's band. Chris Levetter is just a referee. He's, whatever. He's a great guy, and then, he's an awesome story. And, again, follow Maurice or Anthony Rocco, on social media or anything like that, and just tell them, And if you go to any of these people, the Precision Detailing, the Melting Clock, Gone Clothing, you hit up, Wow Productions on any of the Wow Look at Me Now pages, tell them that we sent you, the Wow Look at Me Now podcast sent you, all right? And just let them know that we're out here and we're pushing and we're pumping for them, all right? And that we're pumping for them. We're just, I don't know, that doesn't sound right. We're out here, pushing for everybody to make it and make it to the top. Another big shout out, an awesome one. I almost forgot. I'm not going to forget at the end of the podcast. God darn it. I should have done it a little earlier, but I am not going to forget it. Steve Patterson, my great, great friend, and his buddy Brian are they're finally doing it. They're opening their brewery. They've been talking about doing a brewery. They've been making beer for a long time and kind of getting recipes and stuff, and they finally found a spot here. And if you haven't checked it out, check out my personal Facebook page, Ryan Stock, and you can find, I shared the podcast that they were on. I'm not exactly sure off the top of my head the name of the podcast, but Steve was on the podcast and he talked about his brewery. So go ahead and check out that podcast on my personal Facebook page, Ryan Stock. Give them a like, give them a share. Follow Prime Stein Brewery, like Ben Stein, 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 Prime Stein, on Facebook, on Instagram, Prime Stein Brewery. Facebook, Instagram. Again, I am so pumped. I'm just getting excited here thinking about it. I forgot to write it down. I knew I was missing one thing, and that's it. Steve, congratulations to you and your partner, Brian. And hopefully, we're going to get them jumping on board, and we're going to get them on one of these banners and one of these open spots and get their logo out here. And, if everything goes well, I'm going to talk them into doing some stand-up comedy. Hopefully at his business. Maybe I just want to get back into it. And the days I do it here in town, I just can't do it. And so it'd be nice to have it. And if you're a stand-up comedian and you're listening to this, we might have some open mic nights coming around. Hopefully. We don't know it yet, but that's the plan. And I always have a plan in the back of my head to try something new and get it back out there. So I'm always working on something. So stay tuned for more great episodes. Again, thanks to Precision Detailing, the Melting Clock, Gone Clothing. Follow them on any, Facebook, Instagram, any of that stuff. Precision Detailing LLC, the Melting Clock, and Beyond Clothing. You can find them at any of those on Precision Detailing on Facebook, and the other two are on Facebook and Instagram, as well as Wild Productions is basically just Wild Look at Me Now. If you want any videos or anything made, anything you're thinking about having done, fighter highlights, anything, vacation video, whatever the hell you want. I'm going to try to do some stuff, and I just want to get better at editing. So if you have anything you want to work on, you want me to work on, send me a video. I've been making a lot of little commercials and stuff, and I'm going to try to make a commercial for all these spots, the Wow, the Precision, the Melting Clock, all this, the Gone Cold. I'm going to try to make a little 30-second or so commercials and just try to see how that goes. So again, thank you guys for sticking around and listening to me talk for 40 minutes now. I appreciate everything. Again, hats and t-shirts. We got our good hats. That was a shirt. That was a shirt. The good hats right here. Again, 2 different styles, which they're awesome. So it's amazing. I'm so glad to have them. And again, the t-shirts right here. Boom. All right. I'm Ryan Stock. I'm your host, and I'm out.